You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another special, concise, precise, focused episode of Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
Seth. We are going to do a short, quick recap, get you up to date on Big Brother.
I'm so focused, I got my blinders on.
Right, just up to where we are right now. I got to, Jordan, have you followed any of it?
No.
Okay. Have seen anything in the news?
I keep meaning to flip over, but I'm never watching TV while it's on or something. I haven't caught any of it.
Well, this is going to seem like gibberish then.
All I have seen is you and Valerie writing novels on our Patreon page.
We're making great use of the patron because nobody can. Only people that see it are patrons, and we don't care what these people think.
I've read the Cliff's notes of your copious back and forth, but yeah, you too can join the conversation. $1 a month gets you patron access.
Exactly.
You can throw your opinions out there about Big Brother.
Exactly. My favorite. I'm quoting Valerie. My favorite thing was one of her last things. Oh, for the love. I was like, I like that. Okay. So I'm going to share a picture here of the current, what's happening here. Let's see. Let me know when you can see that.
Yeah, we got you.
All right.
We got
Patrons also get access to the video of these.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
right.
what more could a dollar get you?
So, you normies, are just listen to this. But right now, I'm sharing a picture of the house guests with X's, very red, aggressive X's over the faces of the people that have left. But when we left off, I don't even remember where we left off. Kaser was on the block, maybe.
It looks a little more like Family Feud than Big Brother, but that's okay.
Yeah. Basically, Kaser left last week, and it was a pretty good moment. He put on his FBI hat. He pulled out from behind his chair when he was getting voted out, and he wore an FBI hat like 15 years ago when he was in the house. He's not in the FBI. It was just a callback to this hat he used to wear, and it was just for the old-time fans, and he was just a great presence in the house. But we got so much stuff. There was articles in Newsweek and TMZ. They always end up on TMZ for somebody saying something stupid, but some crazy stuff happened this week, and if you followed Valerie and I's conversations, you might have caught some of what was going on. But there was some casual racism going on, as there always is. This is like Big Brother.
As long as it was casual.
Yeah, but they just just chill out and racism at people. Big Brother is a microcosm of society. You're always going to have this. That's why me and a lot of people have complained, that if you constantly put in only a small amount of people of color, they are always going to be in the dink, as Cliff would say, minority. And other people argue, well, that is what it's like out here, in the streets. Just like, so if it's supposed to be like, real life, that's how it is. But I argue real life sucks. And yes, you're right. They are always playing from behind. Every year there's a alliance of 8 or 10 white kids, and the other people immediately are in the minorities, people of color. Now, are some people of color that get in that alliance by assimilating and playing along and not, having to watching what they're doing and things. And it's just, it just gets old to watch it like that. We would love to see a season. I'm sure Big Brother's not going to solve anything, but they can.
Is there any chance we'll solve anything by talking about how Big Brother's not solving anything?
I think always talking about it is good. That's the best thing. So I just think that if they at least try something new, maybe even it out sometime, it's going to have growing pains, but it's worth a try because this stuff is not working.
And it's not just Big Brother. I mean, every reality show has this. Every one of the dating shows, every year there's an article, why aren't there more minority contestants? So, like, it took how many seasons of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or whatever those are to even have a black, bachelor or whichever one was first, I don't know. But it's just, it's taken too long to figure this stuff out, it seems like.
So, anyway, basically what happened this week is after Kesar left, they did a knockout competition, which is a great competition it's very fair, and except, it's more fair if you have a pretty good alliance, but you have to kind of expose yourself at the same time. So 2 people randomly go up there and they're asked a question. Whoever gets it right or buzzes in first wins that. The other person goes out, and the one that won has to pick 2 players to come up and do the next question. Well, you're always trying to eliminate people, so you pick people that are from the opposite team, away from your alliance, and it kind of exposes who you like. And so people kind of saw there at the end, no one had picked Christmas or Tyler because they're so in good with everybody. And like I said, Tyler's just really good at getting along with people. And Christmas is, I think a lot of people see her as a great sidekick to take to the end. She lost in the end in her season, so they kind of like that. And she's a strong player to have on your side.
Nobody hates Christmas. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, she ended up getting to the last question and won by doing nothing. She was up against Davon in the last question and they just answered it wrong. So Christmas won by doing nothing. It was very reminiscent of when she won Head of Household in her season. She had a broken leg, and it was a race, like a racing competition. But they had the guy that was the mastermind of that season had all mapped out who was supposed to lose which leg, and she was just handed the victory. So she just has things handed to her and then talks about how great she is. But she nominated Tyler had been trying to pit people against each other behind the scenes. He's trying to pit Davon and Bailey against Danny, and it kind of backfired on him in a way that it got Christmas to put Davon and Bailey on the block. And he kind of felt guilty about having, he considers himself an ally of minorities, and he hated that he had something to do with that. So thing is, it wasn't only that motivating him. This is the last week you could leave and get to actually go home and not be kept there sequestered on the jury. So he's like, this may be a good time to go, and I could just go home instead of one of these ladies. So he went to them and said, I'm going to do this. I feel I did this to you, and it felt genuine to me what he was doing. First off, I want to say, because there's some conjecture about whether this was a game move or not. If it was terrible, because it didn't do him any good inside or outside of the house. But he said, I want to offer to go home instead of you. So they were like, well, thanks. That's nobody ever throws us a lifeline, and it was on the show. And he went into Christmas though, and she was his final 2 deal, and she said, basically was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. it ruins my game. Not only do I've made both of them mad, but now they're both staying, and I'm sending home my partner. So this is a terrible idea. And also, he was talked to by production, and it was made very clear to him that he would not get the $40,000 he was promised to come play the game. You can't quit and get your money, basically. So that really changes your mind pretty quick. I'd say that motivated him not fighting too hard about it after that. And so Christmas wouldn't do it, which ended up turning into a big fight because the girls didn't understand why she wouldn't do it. And she is just the most microaggressive holiday in the house. She just can't help herself. She says they got in an argument on the show the other night, and she's just like clapping back at them. And they're like, we can't do that. You're clapping at us because you, in your head, that's something that we would do. So she doesn't even know she's doing it, I think. And they're like, we can't do that. She said how she was worried before she put them up that they were going to shoot her or stick a fork in her face or something. Like, why would we do that? Why are you saying that? They got in that fight the other night. She's like, I'm going to go up to my room, lock my door. I'll tell you that. And it's like, you're just like, it's all this microaggression that we're going to do something to you, It's just too much, but she's caught a lot of heck, and so is Tyler. There was also another thing this week with Ian, who was a previous winner, and he has autism, like I said before, but he rocks back and forth in his chair constantly, and he's just like, he can't help himself. It's a very stressful situation anyway, and he's doing that. Well, Memphis and some other ones were laughing about it. Memphis was making fun of him behind his back the other night, and a lot of them were laughing, and man, they hung him out to dry in freaking Newsweek, coming at these people. And it's like, I hate that they did it, but I hate that they're getting raked over the coals for it also. It's just a terrible situation. These aren't the most horrible people in the world. They just, if you have cameras on you 24 hours a day, you're going to try to show somebody your chair and end up showing your genitals.
It happens.
It's happened to the best of us. So, anyway, this week. Christmas had them up. She won the veto, which one of them could have won the veto and pulled themselves down, and she would have had to nominate someone else. But Christmas won it. She wouldn't do it when Tyler asked her to, so Bailey got voted out. She was fine with. She does not need the money.
Was that the little Starburst are? Is that people with veto?
No, that's something else.
Oh, okay.
I'll get there.
I noticed it at least.
That's good. There's a little added thing there. So she went home, Dave on Stan, and then they did a classic competition last night, a wall that they stand on. And just they rain on them. They have these little handholds like you would have if you were doing a climbing wall. And they hold onto them, and it's just a lot of strain on your forearms and stuff. And they lean the wall forward, and you have to hang on for dear life. And anyway, it came down to Danny winning the whole thing. And some of them had talked about throwing the competition because they thought they wanted to. Because if you win the competition, you can't compete the following week. And some of them talked about throwing it, but they all kind of made each other promise the last minute not to. And she has a real reason not to throw it anyway. But she won, and tonight where we're at, she just made nominations. I already had it on here. I figured I knew who she was going to nominate, but she just nominated, this is Friday night, David and Kevin. And because David is Looney Tunes, he thinks he's super smart, and nobody understands what he's talking about. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. But he he's nominated, and Kevin. Her goal is to backdoor Tyler. She wants, hopefully, for him not to have a chance to play in the veto, and then she can veto or whoever wins the veto can use it, take themselves down, and she can put Tyler up, and he won't even have a chance to say it.
So a backdoor is a maneuver to not put yourself out there by nominating someone, but to get them on the block anyway, right?
Yeah. They have no chance. They don't have any chance to save themselves. If you get nominated right off the bat, you have a chance to play in a veto competition to save yourself. But if whoever goes up after that, no chance. So these bright lights here on these three players, there was a competition where there were three powers to win, and these are the three that won them. Some of them have told other people they have the power, but for the most part, people do not know who has what
the
power.
Power of Grayskull or Project Power? What are we talking about here?
Okay, well, Danny's power is really good for what she has going on right now. She didn't like it at first, but she likes it now that she won HOH, the head of household. Her power is she can play it, and whoever was head of household next week can play for it again. So she could potentially win head of household again next week. So if she doesn't play it, that would be crazy. She could save it and use it on someone else or use it in a couple weeks, but I think if she's smart, she'll play it. Christmas won a power where she could stop somebody from being nominated in case of a veto, I think. Like if somebody gets vetoed, she can save herself from being put up.
She could triple stamp or double stamp.
Yeah, it's less powerful than some things. David's is pretty good. His is, if you are nominated, you can cancel that. Okay, so he has that, and nobody's sure that he does. So where we're at right now in time, she just nominated them. And I think the way it works, because the other night on the show, they showed him saying that he was not going to use it. He was in the diary room saying he was not going to use it. So I think she nominates them, and then usually after noms, each person goes in. They're constantly interviewing the players. Each person will take a turn going in the room and get kind of interviewed about what just happened. And when he goes in, he'll have to say whether he's using it or not, which he's kind of dumb, so it's possible he wouldn't, but I would think he's smart enough to use it on himself. And then later tonight, she will have to nominate someone else to go up instead of him. So I think there's a chance that since she'll be put on the spot and probably won't totally expect it, that she might just put Tyler up right then, and then he will have a chance to play for the veto. I originally thought that a lot of people weren't going to go along with that because a lot of people really consider him part of their alliance. But I think at this point they're willing to let him go after what he pulled last week. She was really wanting to get rid of Ian until production is pretty clear from the conversations going on today that they warned them that it was in the news that they were making fun of Ian. So I don't think Danny, which is, you hate to see outside influence, but you also hate to see it go on and on. So if, that's part of this game, I guess you have to accept it. So if this saves Ian another week, that's fine. They shouldn't have been making fun of him in the first place. But I think Danny might get away with getting rid of Tyler this week. But if Kevin is a really good option to probably go home also. I do think that Danny thinks she's in a better position than she is. As soon as she doesn't have head of household, basically everyone in the house wants her out. She's not in as good with Cody or Nicole as she thinks she is. I did want to mention Memphis's mom over here. I'm assuming Julie Chen birthed Memphis because every time somebody leaves the show, gets knocked out, she says, explains how Memphis is the head of this big alliance. He started at the beginning of the game, and mostly Memphis sleeps and complains about his back hurting. That's basically all he does. like Bailey was voted out last night. When she came out, she said, "Bye, old man," to him, and Julie was like, "What'd you say to Memphis?" So I said, "Bye, old man." It's like, how dare you talk that way to this genius? Anyway, that's pretty much it. We'll see how that plays out. Well, there's a lot of different things that could happen, but I'd say that there's 50-50 on Kevin or Tyler going home would be my guess this week. I'm hoping it's Kevin, honestly. I'd like to see Tyler try to get a foothold again. So that's that. That's our update. This should get people through Sunday. They'll probably see all that Sunday night, a couple days, and then see where it goes from there.
How many more weeks of the show is there?
It should end towards the end of October. So we got a month and a half, a good month and a half here. There will be a double eviction on October 1st, I believe, which will be a 2-hour episode. Which I'm off that night. I'm glad. So
we should probably get Valerie on here at some point to talk this stuff over.
You guys should watch it together, and we'll record it.
Live,
Live event.
Well, how are we gonna get that $1? Right now, if people want to see that conversation, they gotta pay $1. It's all happening on Facebook in the comments.
People love reaction videos, I've been told. So maybe we can start a Big Brother reaction.
I gotta tell you, I'd probably pay $1 to see somebody do something crazy on Big Brother and Valerie go, "For the love."
All right, so hopefully that gets you up to date as possible as we can bring in. We'll be back in a couple more weeks with more from the Big Brother house. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udamwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udamwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share.